It's here, guys. It's finally here. After some patient waiting, I would say maybe a year and a half. It could have been 2 years. I don't know exactly. It's finally here. This is our first ever, and yes, we're going to open it. So let's go ahead and get straight to it. This is our first ever Haslab. This is the Omega Prime from the 2001 Robots in Disguise. And this one's going to be fun. Alright, we're just going to go ahead and get straight to it. I'm going to cut this thing open. And let's be careful. Alright, here we go. There comes the top. Alright, there's the top. Okay, so what I am noticing is it's got the corner covers, so a little bit better than normal shipping. They're protecting the box. Get rid of that. Okay, let's see how we're gonna get this out. Okay, so here comes, like I said, it's heavy. Alright, there it comes. Let's get it out of frame. Get rid of this. Alright, now we're left with just the box. Alright, let's see. I'm assuming it's a box inside of a box. Let's see. Alright, here comes that first one. Alright, and there it is, the cream of the crop. So, there's the top of the box. See some more box corner covers. Pull these out. And look at that. That's going to be the top of the box. Omega Prime, Optimus Prime, and Ultra Magnus. I'm real excited about this. This is our very first Haslab ever. Let's see. Maybe let's do it this way. Tilt the box. I'm gonna have to take it out of frame real quick. Let's see if we can pull it out this way. There we go. That's a little bit better. Alright. Alright, guys. So there's the top of the box. This is really heavy. There is the Omega Prime. Give you a side shot. Try to get the glare out. Here's the back. This is really cool. What I will say is, I don't know how many of you guys actually save your boxes. I really don't. I, at some point, tried to, and then eventually they end up in the trash. But this is going to be a box that we keep. I can totally say that this is a very nice, artsy style box. And maybe we'll figure out how to, hopefully, they'll make it easy to put back inside if that's your thing, to keep it in the box. But we're going to open this thing up, so let's get to that. Alright, so we got them laced out on the table. They're pretty easy to open. I'm going to go ahead and open them and put them in frame, and then I'll get them out and get them displayed, and then we'll go from there. The first one I'm going to open up is, to me, I don't know the name of the weapon. To me, it looks a lot like the Master Sword, which I've seen during the Headmasters now goes with the Fortress Maximus. So this thing is very big. So I'm hoping I can interchange it between both of them. But that's about what I know about this weapon so far. I could be wrong. It could be named something different. But I believe this is the Master Sword. And this is going to be the first pack. Second one's going to be I'm pretty certain this is the base, and this is with the Autobot blue bolts, the instructions. It's a pretty heavy, thick booklet. Then that seems to be the bottom of the base, and at least that's what it looks like to me right now. Get a close-up of this. The color is very nice, I must say. I think that's one thing they really, had paid a lot of attention to. It's a little bit on camera, you may not see it, and I know I'm kind of giving you shadow and glare, but first eyes looking at it, even in the box, is the paint, the color deco really seems to stand out. And so yeah, this is going to be the second pack. And let's see here, who's next? Okay, this looks like it's the Ultra, yes, the Ultra Magnus. It does, everything seems to have its own plastic compartment, so it does seem like if you want to, you can put them back. These were the items that I've seen that you got to be really careful with. They're very pretty. This is that vac metal, and it can flake and chip very easily. So this is kind of, to me, something you're going to handle. You're going to handle with care, or you may only handle once, if that at all. But this is pretty exciting that everything came in its own little plastic. And for references, I'm glad we're filming it because I'll be able to go back and see, how everything was packaged if I ever decide to put it back inside the box. However, I don't think that's going to be the case because I bought this to display it. So that's going to be what we do with it. So that's the basically top layer that comes with the Ultra Magnus. And then this is what he looks like inside. And then I'm not going to pull him out right now. I'm going to open the other box, and then we'll pull him out and get a shot of everything inside. So without trying, it seems like we're doing obviously the Optimus for last. And that's going to be, oh God, this doesn't do it justice. You're going to have to take it out. But again, you can kind of see everything has its little compartment, even all the little vac metal pieces. And yeah, this is going to be the Optimus. So now I'm going to go ahead and get everything out on display, and we'll do a full shot of everything that was inside the packaging. All right, so this is what it looks like, everything outside the box. There's a better look at the Optimus Prime, and they're quite sizable. And I must say, out of all the Optimus Primes that I do have, this is very interesting to have one in the fire truck. And I've seen them already extend the ladder. There's some guns / water hoses that are on the ladder apparatus. But it's actually quite sizable, so I'm excited to get it transformed and get everything combined because I'm curious as to what this thing's going to look like and how big it's going to be once it is. And then that's the Ultra Magnus with the blue bolt and the accessories. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but like I said, this blue really pops. So I must say one thing that I like about this is definitely the color. The color deco seems to stand out and pop out a lot to me. And then, all right, so this is the instructions. And one thing I will say is, and I'm very happy, is that they are in color. I don't know how many of you struggle with the instructions. I don't find the instructions to be super friendly. I've always kind of joked about they need to be in color so you can see exactly what they're describing. But that being said, there's always a YouTube guy or Prime versus Prime who usually has the figures and shows you how to transform them on camera. And I find that to be a lot easier than trying to read the booklet. When you do that, you're going to get stuck on this thing for quite some time. However, I don't know if there's very many videos of people transforming this as of yet, but we're going to go for it. So that's the next step. Now we're going to start having some fun and learning how to get it combined. Okay, so here is the Optimus Prime and the Ultra Magnus, both in, I guess, their basic robot modes. The Optimus Prime does have a super mode which integrates the rest of the fire truck trailer, but our goal is going to be to have it in the Omega Prime version to have on display. So that's going to be what I go for next. But what I will say is that fact that there weren't too many videos on how to transform it yet on on YouTube, you know, he made it to where you kind of had to learn the hard way or the actual way and read the instructions. So what I will say is the fact that they were in color made it so much easier to transform. And to be honest, the engineering, I will say, was pretty easy. It came apart very easily. Sometimes you get these transformers with some really tight flaps, some really tight joints, and you really have to be careful when, you know, pulling them apart. But this came apart very easily, and same with putting it back together, just, you know, came together pretty seamlessly. But now we're gonna go ahead and transform this into the Omega Prime, and yeah, we're gonna wrap this up. Also, we've got the bases, the Titan Master Cerebros, and some of the extra leftover stuff here from the trailer. Which, what I will say is, now having it and transformed, I definitely want to have a second one so that I could have that fire truck. But I've already started looking them up on eBay, and they're already going for, you know, 500, 600 bucks, which is out of the question. So if you were one of the lucky guys to pre-order more than one, kudos to you, because after opening it so far, I definitely will say I want that fire truck. Alright guys, so here it is. Here is the Omega Prime, fully built and assembled. We have him holding his Matrix Blade, which I think earlier in the video I called it the Master Sword. But after looking at the instructions, we figured out the right name. Alright, so what I will say is this vac metal, it's very pretty. It adds a whole extra layer of detail to the figure that, as of right now, our collection just, you know, didn't have. What I will say, though, and just let everybody know, is this chips very easily. It scratches very, very easily. So when learning how to handle this, you just take your time, figure out where to grab it. Don't drop it. Don't rub it, because you'll mess it up very easily. What else? So what I will say also is that Blue Bolt comes with these white missiles that are 5mm ported. So your blast effects do integrate with the Blue Bolt design, which I thought was fun, because when you spend the type of money that you do, I just think it adds a little bit of extra detail to the toy. When you're spending 200 bucks and barely getting any accessories, weapons, or any sort of extra play, it's a little bit of a bummer. But I was real glad that these blast effects did fit. Size-wise, it's not a small figure. It's not, you know, it's not a Titan class scale figure at all either, but it is not small. So right now, let's see, we're going to slide in our Legacy Armada Prime, which you can see it's quite, you know, quite noticeable, the size difference. But yeah, other than that, this was a very fun figure to open. This is our first Haslab. And what I will say now is that I really wish we would have bought two, because now I'm a little bummed out that, you know, we've got this big old fancy figure, and I really do like it, but I really like the Optimus in that truck, in the fire truck mode. So I have a whole half of that fire truck just now sitting there as parts. So I will say that I think I'm going to transform this figure more than one time, because I learned how to build it, so it's not going to be too hard to go back. But I will say that I think for the next Haslab, I will try to get two if I can, because I do enjoy right now the fact that I had that fire truck, and I'm a little bummed out that it's currently just sitting as parts. But with that being said, guys, that's going to wrap us up for today. I told you guys we're going to be cranking this stuff out. This is just a surprise. So until next time, we'll see you guys later.